What is research software sustainability and why is it essential to HPC? We'll find out next. Welcome to SC21 TV. I'm your host, Charla Bokikio. We are live at the SC21 TV news desk, meeting leaders in the world of high-performance computing. With me now is Daniel Katz, who is Chief Scientist at NCSA, the National Center for Supercomputing Applications. Hey, Dan, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Welcome.
Thank you.
You didn't have to come from too far to visit us today, right?
No, it's just about a 3-hour drive.
Good.
Yep.
So we're in your neck of the woods. And
Definitely
fun
so.
fact, we were both born in the same location in Belleville, Illinois.
It is pretty strange.
Very strange. Well, so we're here to talk about you and what you're doing. Let's start with what is research software sustainability?
Yeah, so it's actually a little bit of a complicated answer, but basically research software is the software that's used within research. And that research software needs to change over time. It's written initially, and it works on some platforms, some HPC platforms, some other platforms. It depends on some libraries. It depends on some other things. And all of those things continue to change over time. And people find bugs in the software, and those bugs have to be fixed. And people that are using the software want to do new things with it. And so all of those changes that need to happen are basically the reason that software needs to be sustainable. And so then research software sustainability itself is how do you make that work as easy as possible, and how do you get the resources, whether those are people or money, in order to do that work.
Gotcha. So how is this all related to SC21?
So SC21 is interesting because it has a really, really long title officially, right? SC21 is just the short title, and it has all these different words about computing and networking and data and storage and analysis. And the thing that it doesn't actually ever explicitly say is software.
Interesting.
It doesn't actually say applications. And software is the thing that I would say is kind of this missing piece that's not necessarily paid attention to by everybody, but it's the thing that actually makes all the pieces work together.
So you think people just take that for granted in the understanding of what is without saying it?
I think that's definitely true, and that ends up actually being the problem why sustainability is kind of a challenge that hasn't been very well recognized, is because people do take it for granted.
Right.
The hardware, people know they have to buy new hardware every 3 years, every 4 years, but people don't think that they have to keep working on the software as well.
Because you can't see it.
Because you can't see it. Yeah.
Interesting. How does this all relate to your position as Chief Scientist at NCSA?
Yeah, so at NCSA, my role as Chief Scientist is really to help the institution do better science and better research overall, not just science. Okay. And so that's a combination of helping people figure out what challenges they want to address and how they can address those challenges, where they can go to write proposals, where they can get collaborators. But it's also trying to look at the infrastructure that we have. And our infrastructure, like SC, is a combination of hardware and software and networks and other things. And so as we build some of these pieces of software, it's a question about kind of how do we design software so that it helps science the most.
Right.
And so
how long have you been at NCSA?
About 6 years now.
Okay, excellent. You were recently elected to IEEE Computer Society's Board of Governors for a 3-year term that begins January 1st. How do you hope that role, how do you hope to advance the research software in that role?
Yeah, so within the people of the community of people that are involved in research software, there are faculty, there are students, there are postdocs, but then there's also a large number of staff members, people that we sometimes call research software engineers, and I think you had a discussion about this yesterday.
Yes.
So those people that are research software engineers are doing work that fits into the computer society. But I don't know that they all know that. And so my intent is to try to bridge connections between the research software community and the computer society, and to bring people in the RSE roles within universities and national laboratories into the computer society, but also within the society to really raise the importance of research software, and to try to make sure that that's one of the areas that the society thinks of as important and as an area of growth.
Right. Excellent. What would be, well, let me go back. So SE21 is starting to wrap up now. We're kind of on the downhill side. What have you thought about this hybrid, with the combined in-person and virtual conference in your own experience?
It's a little bit confusing because it's actually, in some ways, it's the worst of both worlds. It has the virtual nature where everybody is remote, and the vast majority of people that are attending the talks are remote. And so you have to run everything as if everybody's remote. And so from that point of view, there's actually no advantage to being here. But on the other hand, then there's the things going on the show floor where we are now, where there is a huge advantage to being here, but it's hard to do because there aren't as many people here. And so the things that you really want to get out of the in-person part is the networking, not the talks. Right. But it's hard to do to have the same networking because there aren't enough people here.
Because there are less people.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes it ever more important to encourage people to attend in person next year, if they're comfortable, build this back up.
I hope that that's what happens, and we do get back to having most people here. But on the other hand, there also are advantages to having people be remote. And so I almost wonder if we should try to split things in some ways and focus on networking and in-person communication where that makes the most sense, and actually maybe have some of the technical program be more purely remote, where we can have people that are in different parts of the world participate more easily, and people that maybe aren't able to afford to come here or don't have the time to come here to also participate.
You're the first person to bring that concept up as I've been talking to people. It's an interesting way to think about it. What do you think your expert advice would be then for people who may want to attend the SC22 conference? Should they attend in person or should they attend online?
I think it really depends a lot on what they want to come here to do. So I would say if they can, coming here in person, I think is a great experience, and it's much different than the experience that you get online and the experience that we had last year.
Yeah.
But for some people, the online experience is probably the right choice, whether they're people that may have health concerns at that point, or people who are really interested in particular aspects of the technical program and maybe just want to come to one workshop or one tutorial or something like that. And so the idea, the way things are being done now, where you actually do have the two options, I think is good. And I feel like we're going to have to continue with these options.
Right, for sure. And it sounds like it's just going to be a personal decision, absolutely, for everybody involved. Is there anything else about HPC or NCSA that you wanted to highlight for us? Any future projects that are going to be coming up in 22 or beyond? What's on the horizon?
I think I would just go back to research software overall, and to say to people that are really interested in research software, research software can be a career. It can be the thing that you focus on. And if that's something you want to do, there is a place for you in the computer society. There's a place for you at HPC, at SC, in the HPC world. And there's a place for you at NCSA as well. And so if that's something that makes sense for you as a career, we'd certainly like to talk to you and see if we can work something out that makes sense.
Excellent. So always recruiting new talent.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So on a personal level, what's a fun fact about you? Something that a lot of people may not know. I don't even know the answer to this. I'm just wondering if you have any hobbies or special skills that nobody really knows about. Do you hula hoop?
I don't. I guess. I don't know. So when I was a bit younger, I used to do things that were much more exciting outdoors, and I was really into river rafting, for example, and scuba diving and sailing and all these things that somehow I've moved on from, and I'm not exactly sure why. So maybe I need to go back to some of those things.
Maybe so. That sounds interesting. I've never done either of those, so that sounds very adventurous.
It actually was one of the really nice things about living in California was the water coming down out of the mountains led to really nice rapids that were really kind of fun to go through at different times. So.
Wonderful. Well, it was wonderful to talk to you, Dan, get to know you a little bit, and
Thanks
I hope
very
you
much.
enjoy the rest. Well, tomorrow. I guess we're almost done, aren't we?
Well, today and tomorrow, but yeah, thank you
Great.
very much.
Yeah, so for those of you watching, stay tuned for the latest in high-performance computing from SC21 TV. Make sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and plan to attend SC22 in person in Dallas if you can next November. I'm Charla Bokikio.